Let me try to continue. And the ratio, when I looked at the 70-30 visually as clamped, the orientation, and looked at the bevel grind and the heights of what I considered the 70 side when I would sharpen it, the outside, and the inside is the 30 side. So that should have had a smaller bevel because it was sharpened less. Plus, because the side is taller, I would expect the bevel to be smaller too. But when I looked at the 70-30 ratio of heights visually to me and this 80-20, they were flip-flopped. In other words, I would have described the 70-30 as the 80-20 knife, and I would have described the 80-20 knife. So what it meant to me is that it's marketing. At least some of it's got to be marketing, a description, but not necessarily anymore to follow form on that sharpening ratio that I tried to learn from the masters. And then when you try to apply it to wicked edge sharpening, where you're doing two sides and you have a lot of counting going on to keep the bevels even, but now the sides of the knives are ground uneven and the appearance, it becomes very complicated. And then the practicality of it, the truth of it is that as long as those two planes, whether one is straight up and down or it's 70-30 or whatever, but as long as that edge is keen, where those two planes, those long lines intersect on that knife, if that's keen, that knife's going to be sharp. Now, to figure out how to do that rest, that's what I'm still working on, because I've discovered those, how do I say it? The question, I've discovered that my question is valid about the sharpening technique that I've been chasing, trying to ascribe to the asymmetrical grinds and the uneven bevels all these years, that I'm learning that some of it's a crock and some of it may be old traditional, and now there's a lot of different new style knives. I've seen the evolution in just the years since I'm collecting knives, like since 2005 probably I bought my first nice knife. And in this 20 years, I've seen a modernization of the designs of knives, both in Japanese knives and in the brand name high-end Japanese knives like Shun, to the European style. All of the knives are getting more contemporary, and all of the descriptions are getting more contemporary, I guess, and less traditional. So it's getting harder and harder to buy them, and there's also the blend between the marketing and the stylizing and the contemporariness of the design and the new techniques, new science, and new brains that are making these knives. See, we got a whole new generation of knife smiths that may not have mentored in the old Japanese traditions, but that doesn't mean that they're not aware of what they are and they don't practice it. But there's new techniques and new foundries and new hardening, tempering ovens and things that allow them to get the most out of the metallurgy. And there's a lot of new cool stuff going on, and the knives are being described differently. So I'm trying to figure out how to sharpen them and share that with you. See, in my collection, I have the collection of knives in order to challenge me in the different shapes and clamping methods and angles and sides. I'm trying to learn that while I share that and do that with you. And through the knife collecting, And through examining, it wasn't until I got started with this group and started realizing what I had when I started looking at my knives and put together the collection of who made what and what this is and and saw the similarities and the differences, that the sharpening of the uneven knives became real important to me, because it's supposed to ascribe to a sharpening technique and it doesn't seem to hold. So that's where I'm at with this on our Knife Talk Sunday School. Chasing this understanding of uneven grind and how to apply those on Wicked Edge. Now,